Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our second ever live episode of I'm a Statman. My name's Luke. I'm joined with OKB regular Gilly, who's helping out with the technical difficulties of this new software that we've been having, and he's actually managed to get, believe it or not, for an episode of Statman Online. How are you doing, Stats?
Very well, thank you. We got there in the end. A few technical hiccups pre-broadcast, but fingers crossed everything's working now.
Perfect. So Matt and I actually had to blag the episode last week because we lost Stats. Yes. So there's actually no Stats at all for the Liverpool game, I'm afraid. But yes. We've done plenty of talking about it this week, so we won't go into that too much. We're all looking forward to the big one today, I think, yes, against Scum. First things first, I just want to get a bit of an idea. How do you think it's going to go, given the performance over at the Theatre of Shite early on in the season?
Do you know what? I've read a lot from what Solskjaer and Bielsa said about that performance, and it wasn't a 6-2 game. Unfortunately for Leeds, the game was lost in the first 3 minutes when McTominay scored 2 goals, and in any game, you're going to struggle when you 2-0 down after 3 minutes, let alone against Man United. But you look back at the game as a whole, we created so many chances that it could have been 6-4, 6-5 on another day. I don't think it'll be anything like that today. Leeds look a totally different unit from when they were in December. They're 5 unbeaten. They're taking points of Man City, Liverpool, and Chelsea in that run, as well as victories away at Fulham and at home to Sheffield United. I think we've got a good chance today. I'm feeling quite confident, and I'm actually feeling really pumped up for this.
Yeah, no, me too. I think it's a nice position to be in, given the performances against both Liverpool and Man City, to go into this game. We know with a little bit of oomph and a little bit of form as well, because I think not everybody, I think the majority of Leeds fans probably had an expectation that we probably wouldn't get that much from the 2 previous games, and for us to come out of it with 4 points going into the Scum game today. It's nice. It's a good position. Everyone's feeling a bit jolly. You know, there's some good stuff going around on social media. So yeah, I mean, in terms of today, then how are we going to line up? Obviously, it looks like Raf's still not back.
I think, Luke, be unchanged. I don't see any reason to change it. I thought second half, I thought we were very, very good against Liverpool. On another day, we could have won the game. I'd just like to see one big thing. I want to see Tyler Roberts at the back of the net today. I think his effort has been superb in the last few games. I think now is the time to step up and get a goal against Man United. And I think that'll boost his confidence no end, because I think he's one of the players that he's Marcelo looking at for next season. I'm not too sure, but I think his performances have been there. He could have scored against Liverpool on Monday night. I think it's an opportunity now to try and get his first Premier League goal.
No, absolutely. I think Bielsa's comments during the week as well about Tyler Roberts were quite refreshing. And honest, so it does look like Tyler Roberts maybe here to stay. He obviously clearly values him and rates him, more importantly, as a good player. So nobody wants Tyler Roberts to score more than the rest of the OKB team. I can tell you about. Yes. I'll tell you about that off air. The reason why. But yeah, there's a little bit of a hidden treasure there for OKB, the OKB team. But yeah, Smart is just popped a quick question up. Question for you, I think, Stats. Will Bielsa have learned anything from our last meeting regarding players being pulled way out of position? Yeah,
I actually think he would, to be honest, Luke, because we went into that game. It was a complete learning curve. But also, we played Man United in Australia prior to the 1920 season. Also, we won promotion to the Premier League. And it was a bit of a learning curve for them. And I think we were a little bit too open, especially in the first 5 minutes. And when you're 2-0 down, as I previously said, in any game, you're going to struggle. And as I said, it could have been something 6-4, 6-5, even 6-6. But I don't think they'll be as open as they were in that game at Old Trafford in December. I think you're adding into Diego Llorente, who has been absolutely magnificent since he's come in. And it'll be very interesting when Coops' his 3-match ban is up. I think he's got one more against Brighton, I believe, to see if Coops comes back into Struick or what do you do with Robin Koch as well. So it's a nice position to have. But yeah, I don't think they'll be as gun-ho as they were in the game in December.
No, absolutely. And in terms of key battles on the pitch, then do you see Llorente and either Greenwood or Rashford being probably the key battle for us today?
Yeah. I think if Llorente can keep those two quiet, I think it's important from a Leeds perspective to try and keep Bruno Fernandes quiet as well, because I think if he's on his game, he can destroy teams, and I think he's had a decent season at Old Trafford. So yeah, I think there's key battles all over the place. I think Calvin Phillips is going to play a mega role, and it was nice to hear Patrick Bamford speak on the official club podcast that Calvin was quite. I don't know what the word is, but he was drilling it into him in that prior game at Old Trafford in December, and it's been a bit more low-key preparations. But yeah, I'm sure the players are actually buzzing and looking forward to this like the supporters are.
Just
Perfect.
a couple of questions then in terms of predictions. So
Yes.
Can you predict for me what minute you think Man United will get their penalty?
It's like a 1-0 Fernandes penalty. Hopefully not, because I know it's that old saying, and it's funny that someone tweeted about the Super League that none of the clubs have been deducted, Man United have been awarded a penalty. So hopefully they won't get a penalty at Allen Road, and hopefully Leeds can keep the powder dry on that one.
Yeah, so just the other one is, have you got a scoreline prediction for me?
Do you know what? I know I've been on this podcast quite a bit, and I've been quite negative with predictions. I'm going to go the other way today. I fancy us. I feel quite heads up. I feel positive. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Leeds win today. I really feel. I could have egg over my face, but yeah, I can see that. I'll do the salute. I fancy us today.
If Stats fancies us, we're in.
That's actually the most prevalent. That's the most prevalent prediction out of all of
2-1.
Yeah, that's what most people have gone for. I went 3-2, so the same difference. But yeah, everybody's feeling quite positive.
Boys, that fans aren't in the ground. This is the one game that you look for when you're back in the Premier League. And I think we all thought when the pictures came out back in, I think when it was August, you look at Man United April, okay, we should be back in the ground by then. It's just a bit gut-wrenching that we're not in the ground. But hopefully come August we will be. And it's a massive fixture with a massive history.
Do you think there'll be many fans down there at the ground today? I know obviously with regard to if the ESL whole saga was still going, I know there was big plans for demonstrations and things, but obviously with that died down and the English clubs pulling out and whatnot.
Yeah.
Do you still reckon there'll be a few down there giving it to the buses and that?
Yeah, I know there was a report in the Daily Mail this morning that the police have put plans in place to stop fans sort of attacking the coach. And look, it's not the players' fault is what happened with the Super League. It's in the higher echelons of power at the football clubs. I'm sure there'll be a few that are down there outside Allen Road. And as I say, can you just imagine the atmosphere come sort of 1:30 or even 1 o'clock when the teams are announced and the fans come out, the players come out onto the pitch for the warm-up? I think it'd just been immense. But yeah, we'll have to do with the TV today, and hopefully next season we'll all be back there. And it can frighten players, as I'm sure the opposing players have said.
Absolutely. Just one more thing before we move on to your super segment Stats. Mike P's just mentioned that, and he's quite rightly as well. I think Scum were quite good at pulling Calvin out of position to leave that centre out last time we played. Bielsa's obviously going to have done his research on that. Do you think we'll see a more sort of stagnant approach to Phillips's play in the respect of saying centrally defensive midfielder and not having him pulled out to the sides?
Absolutely, because I think, if memory serves me right, Calvin actually got substituted in that game. And I think it'll be a bit more of a conservative approach and not to be so gung-ho, because Leeds have improved massively since Christmas. They're on a lovely unbeaten run. I'll come to a couple of stats shortly about that. So, yeah, I think it'd be a bit more of a conservative approach by the way Bielsa sort of sets his side out. And, again, you don't want to be chasing the game against a team like Man United. And, as I said, I just feel it might be overconfident, it might be a bit cockiness, but I just think the run we're on, and obviously we went to Man City and we all know what happened playing with 10 men, I think we've got a brilliant opportunity this afternoon to put one over on them.
Perfect. Great stuff. So this show is I'm a Statman. It is all about you and your crazy stats, as I call them. But we'll leave it to you then. Take the floor and give us some stuff that we didn't know 5 minutes ago. And 1 minute, Matt, I don't know if you quickly. I don't know if you know that it was Matt and I who actually did the I'm a Statman thing. So
brilliant.
Let's see if we can. Shall we see if we can try and do that live before he goes on, Matt?
I'm a Statman.
On 3. I'm a Statman.
We got that wrong.
Go on. That's your intro.
That's my intro. A few to pick the bones out of. 22 years ago today, I think that's right, 1999, April 25th, 1999, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank became the first Leeds United player to score home and away against Man United in the Premier League. So hopefully history can repeat itself. Only obviously Stuart Dallas can do that today because obviously Coops is suspended. We're looking to win our first home game in the league against Man United since September the 14th, 2002, when a certain H. Chilwell, I don't like to particularly mention his name on podcasts, scored the winning goal. So that's another one to sort of look around. Also, should we come out of this game unbeaten, it'll be the first time since April 2001 that we haven't lost a league game in the month of April. And that time, David O'Leary was the last Leeds United Premier League manager to get Manager of the Month. So could history kind of repeat itself there? And there are other players that have scored home and away against Man United. I think Alan Clark is one of them. Mark Viduka has scored home and away against Man United, especially in the Premier League in season 2001-2 at Old Trafford and in a 4-3 defeat at home to the Red Devils in March 2002. And finally, back in that month of April 1999, ironically, Leeds played Liverpool at home on a Monday night, drew 0-0. The next home game was against Man United on April the 25th, drew 1-1. Next home game after that was North London opposition in Arsenal and won 1-0. Who's the next home game after this? North London opposition, Tottenham Hotspur. Hopefully we can win that game 1-0 as well. So plenty of stuff to get into today. But yeah, I'm sure it's one we're all looking forward to.
Brilliant. And take a breath now, mate. You can have a little
Take
breather.
And you know, I'm not looking at anything. I'm looking at doing that for memory. I'm looking at literally staring straight into a camera. So yeah, that's literally all for memory.
I'm lucky if I can remember what I had for my tea last night.
I can't remember. What did I have? Yeah. I can't remember what I had.
Yeah.
I remember football stats. I can't remember what I did yesterday, but hey, no.
You can't turn a computer on and off, as the most previous tweet said.
Absolutely.
Mike's just, on the back of that, thanks ever so much again, Stats, for all those crazy stats. I don't know how you fucking remember stuff like that, but it's brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant. Mike P's just thrown another cue in there. Whilst we're conceding less in 2021, we're also scoring less freely, making the games feel much tighter.
Yeah.
Are the stats confirming this? I think it's probably because it's a tougher league.
Yeah. I think when you sort of step up, I think we're actually on 50-50, which is unbelievable. 50 goals for, 50 goals against, which I think just shows the way that Bielsa sets his side out. So, of course, you're going to score less goals in the Premier League after a move up from the Championship. Say if you're in a League One and you move up to the Championship, you're probably going to score less goals because it's a higher league and the defenders are better. So, but look, we scored 50 goals in our first season back, which is unbelievable. The record, I think, for a Premier League side is 82 for a promoted side by Newcastle United in 93-4. That was a 42-game league. I think the record for overall was Sunderland and Ipswich in a 38-game season with 56 in 99-2000 and 2000-2001. So we've certainly got an opportunity to go and beat that over the next 6 games or so.
At the risk of sounding stupid, is he trying to say that the first half of this season compared to the latter half of this season, so in 2020 we were scoring more goals? Is that what he's trying to say?
Possibly. Look, then again, if you look back in the first half of the season, we won, 5 against West Brom, 5 against Newcastle. So maybe we're scoring a bit more freer in the first half of the season, and defences have gotten a bit wiser to us. But the main thing for me is winning games. And even if you can create 15 chances and you win 2-1, that's the result on the paper the following morning.
Yeah. He just confirmed that's what he did mean. Sorry, I misunderstood the question.
No problem.
But yeah, great stuff. Sean Wade wants to know if you use beard oil, Stats. Have you got any recommendations on beard oil?
On what oil?
Each to their own. Beard oil.
I've never used it.
Never used it. Well, apparently Gilly uses beef dripping.
Can't beat it.
Lovely.
Right then, we're going to come to that part of the show then where we test you a little bit, Stats. It's all good and well us you telling us that you know all this in the back of your head, but I'm going to throw you in front of everybody in a second or two. I think this one's quite easy. We usually do 5 players to play for both now because it's so substantial. If there's a move either way, I think that's a little bit easy. So I'm going to ask you to name 10 players that have played for both Leeds United and Scum. Either way.
Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready for you.
I'm going to surprise you with some of these because some of you would have thought straight away. I'm going to start with.
Please feel sorry. Just before you do stats, just quickly, if anybody wants to throw some suggestions in the comments, please do, and we'll try and catch stats out. See if you get some.
Are we ready?
Go ahead. I'm ready.
The worst goalkeeper I think I've ever seen at Leeds United, Paul Rahubka. Played two games for Man United. Liam Miller, God rest his soul. Alan Smith, Gordon Strachan, Rio Ferdinand, Johnny Giles, Danny Pugh, Scott Wotton, Freddie Goodwin, Cameron Borthwick-Jackson. There's 10 already.
That was so easy. You didn't even have to say Lee Sharp or Eric
Cantona, Lee Sharp, Rio Ferdinand.
God, it goes on forever, doesn't it?
I think there's an argument to say that Cameron Borthwick-Jackson didn't really play for either.
I'll never, no disrespect to the fella, and he's a nice guy because I interviewed him. I remember a game against Burnley in the League Cup under Thomas Christensen, and Leeds won the game on penalties. He wasn't at his best, and I don't think he played many more after that.
No, it was.
There's loads to pick from.
There is, yeah. We could be there all day. I bet you if you spent some time, I bet there's probably near on 50 that have represented both.
Yeah. Like another one, David Healy, obviously played at Man United, played at Preston, played at Leeds. So there's absolutely loads you can pick from. So yeah, it's quite a healthy rivalry, and as I say, we're all very much looking forward to the game in just under 2 hours. Yeah,
2 o'clock kickoff, isn't it?
Yeah, so just over 2 hours, should I say?
Yeah, just over 2 hours. Great stuff. Anybody else got anything to ask Stats or anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up this morning? Stats, have you got anything you want to ask us?
Yeah, go on then. I took my prediction. What's your prediction?
I went 3-2.
3-2.
I've got 3-1 Leeds, but I did actually mirror your prediction with 2-1. But Smarty copied me and he's one place above me in the table, so I thought, fuck that, I'm not having that. So I went 3-1.
What's bizarre is I do the Super 6 on Sky every week. I'm top of the league in my league. When it comes to Leeds United predictions, I'm hopeless. But I don't know if that's going with the head or the heart sometimes, but we go with it.
Oh, we've got a tester here for you, Stats, before you go.
Oh, go on.
Sean Wager, who scored the first ever goal in a Leeds and Scum game?
Oh,
is that ever or in the Premier League? Sean, is that ever? Or since the Premier League began? Because I think ever would be a bit tough, wouldn't it?
I think it was Tom Jennings, but I'd have to double check that out because I don't know minutes going back to the 1920s off the top of my head. In the Premier League, if that's what he's asking.
Ever, he's saying.
I would guess from a Leeds perspective, I think it was Tom Jennings in the 20s. In the Premier League, the first game in the Premier League between Leeds and Man United was at Old Trafford on September the 5th, 1992. Man United won by 2-0. Andrei Kanchelskis with a header and Steve Bruce. The first ever player to score a Premier League goal for Leeds against Man United was one David Weatherall on September the 11th, 1994, in a game that Leeds won by 2-1. So I think it's Tom Jennings. But again, I'm going back to the 1920s and minutes off the 1920s on the top of my head is hard to do.
Yeah, well, we're only young then, weren't we? So it's quite hard to remember.
Yeah.
Some of us were.
I wasn't even a thought.
Brian Dean was the other scorer, wasn't
he? Say again?
I think Brian Dean was the other scorer, wasn't he?
He was indeed. Brian Dean from across from Noel Whelan, of course, will be there for the beat today for Radio Leeds.
And there's your feedback. Jesus Christ, Stats, you're ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous knowledge. That's from our very own Simon Johnson. So great stuff. Everybody, look, let's enjoy the game. We're all of high hopes. Let's not all fall out afterwards, all over Twitter or whatever. We've had a few beers if we do get beat. These are the games that we look forward to as Leeds fans. Certainly, shame we can't be there. But this is the big one of the season for us. And given that the position we're in, we're not fighting any relegation. No. It's a great position to be in on the back of 2 good results. Let's just enjoy it and enjoy watching the players. So, anybody got any questions or anything else? Fire them over to Stats or to OKB on Twitter. Matt and I will actually be on after the game for another instalment of Brady and Coke. We'll probably be a little bit tipsy then, so there might be a few more swear words depending on how the result went. But we won't be falling out, I assure you. So anything we do say, don't use as evidence. Cheers. Take care, everybody. Look, enjoy the game, and we'll catch up soon. Cheers, Stats.
Cheers, boys.
See you in a bit, lads.